Hey, this is Chef Sky coming to you live and direct from the beautiful island of sunny Puerto Rico. And I wanted to discuss with you today Ital food. Now, for those of you who don't know, Ital food is vegan diet basically from the perspective of the Rastafarian culture. And this is my foundation for coming into this lifestyle back when I was 14 years old. It is how I learned about food combining, making delicious meals that are vegetarian, and the introduction of tofu became new to me. And I grew up on the beautiful island of St. Croix, and there's a huge Rastafarian population there. And there are various types of Rastafarians. From what I see, there are what I would call, and it's just almost just like when you have like Orthodox in like Christianity. There's Orthodox Rastafarians that are very, um, I guess, true to form. They're very much like this is the way and this is the only way, and they don't mix and meddle with anything else. And then you have a variety of different sects in between and different groups. And then you have on this other end, you have the, you know, Rastas that are more like um, natural, kind of, maybe vegetarian, may not be, or maybe they'll eat fish. Um, their children definitely don't have dreadlocks. They might have a regular government job, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, people meet it where it works for them, and no judgment here. It's all good. Where it comes into me, I think that, what I've learned about nature and living naturally is really what has made an impression on my life. So ITAL is vital, and there are some things that I've learned over the years, and I'm talking 24, 25 years now of living and eating this way. There are things that I've learned along the way that have changed, and I think I found better information that worked for me. For example, tofu. I don't eat tofu barely much at all. There's another product that a lot of Rastafarians, or even I'll call them Caribbean vegetarians, they eat too much of this, and it's we call it chunks, but they call it, it's really TVP, or texturized vegetable protein, not necessary to eat at all. I mean, I think for a lot of people, eating meat is such a psychological thing, and a texture thing, that they need to have that chew, that meaty tear thing, and chunks offers that. But really, you might as well eat meat, because what's in textured vegetable protein is nothing you need, literally. Um, I really am excited that a lot of Rastafarians are moving into a lot more raw food now. Muta Baruka out of Jamaica, he is definitely, like, I think he's, if not 100%, he's probably a very high raw foodist. And this is really important, because one thing I did find growing up in the Virgin Islands is I met a lot of vegetarians, and even myself included. I'm not talking about people, I'm talking about myself too, who were fully vegan, fully vegetarian, maybe a little cheese here and there, but they were obese. And like, I'm talking over 200 pounds. And it's really, um, there's something is wrong there. Really, a true vegetarian is not overweight at all. So, I mean, someone can argue that with me, but if you're eating healthy and eating vegetarian, you should not have excess weight on you. And I've met plenty of vegetarians who vow to vegetarianism and are not doing something properly. And I realized that in my own self, so I had to make changes. And one of the biggest things that I know that a lot of us vegetarians do, especially coming from a Caribbean cultural standpoint, with certain way we season food and certain way we cook food, is we use a lot of oil and fat in the food. So we're not eating the fat from the meat, but we are getting fat from oil and cooking, and you know a lot of stuff has coconut milk in it, which is coconut fat is in that. And it's coconut oil and coconut milk, anything coconut is really healthy for the body, but not in, you know an overconsumption. And I know a typical Ital dish might be a big pot of brown rice with coconut milk and gonga peas, which are pigeon peas, or in Puerto Rico they call them grandules. Um, I know then they add to that a big pot of Ital stew, which is this big root vegetable soup or stew. It's thick with pumpkin and carrots and tanya and edo and dasheen and potato and sweet potato and yam and all these. And then, of course, they pour in coconut milk. And then before they actually get it started cooking, they saute onions and garlic and celery and all those things in it. So there's oil in that as well. And then, of course, a big popular thing that we eat in the Virgin Islands, actually, it's pretty popular everywhere, but in the Virgin Islands, we eat patés, which in Jamaica they're called Jamaican patties, and then in Puerto Rico they're called empanadillas. But they're basically, they look like that. They're kind of like half, and it's basically dough stuffed with like lentils and greens, or rice and beans, or some kind of tofu and veggies. Sometimes they have all veggies in it with potato. Delicious. But the way they make them in the Virgin Islands is they make the dough. Usually it's whole wheat. That's what makes it natural and healthy, I guess. Then they cut, close them up and fry them, and that really like yikes it out. You know what I mean? I make them. I've made them. They're really tasty, but the frying part is really what messes up the program. I know a lot of people who bake them, which cuts back on all of that grease. So that would probably be better. Um, but Ital is vital, and it's the way. And when I think about the Virgin Islands, I think about Ital, and I think about a few spots that I want to give mention to, because like they were destinations for me when I was living home. The number one spot I just have to just tell the world about is Yucca, and that's in Frederickstead and St. Croix. And Mama Wala and the rest of the folks there have cooked steadily for years, years. And I don't even know when, I don't know how long it's been, but they make some of the best vegan food ever on the planet, ever, anywhere in the world. And anytime I go home to St. Croix, I have to go there. Another place that jumps out in my head is in St. Thomas, is Rootsy's Ital. Rootsy, he's probably been there long. He's probably been in the Virgin Islands cooking vegetarian food longer than anyone at all. Because when I was in high school and we took a trip to St. Thomas, we stopped there, and I'm sure he'd been open a lot, earlier than that. Who else? Oh my God, there's so many. There's so many people to think about. Those are the two that jump out because they're my favorites, and I know them, and they're beautiful people. And Ital is vital. Is something we need to delve into and check out. It's It's basically eating whole foods from the earth, cooking from scratch, using your herbs, cooking and preparing raw food, and keeping it simple. Lots of greens, lots of provisions, lots of yummy goodness. I would say eliminate the tofu, or at least lower it, and the chunks, eliminate that. And, it's lovely. Yes. Peace and love, y'all.